pleased with the way we started the game. I think that was a point of emphasis for us throughout the week, was to start fast. Certainly, anytime you can play a brand of ball that I think your people can be proud of, it's a positive. With homecoming, some may have viewed that as a distraction. We tried to make it a positive each week, all week, relative to promoting our culture, the intangibles that we want to play with. I think we're finally getting a little more execution and poise to go along with the effort and the toughness that we've displayed. We do have things that we need to correct, certainly defensively and on special teams, but they're all very fixable. Just like we thought, we go back to the tape. Got to eliminate mental errors, got to play with better leverage, better fundamentals, eliminate some loafs, and then we can help our players a little bit by maybe having a little better plan in some areas. But by far, best football game in terms of the quality of the tape, the precision on all three phases. And I think we're getting better. Simply put, we're making improvement, and we're by no means a finished product. We'll never be, probably, but we are headed somewhere, and I like the way our team is working. I like the leadership that we're getting from the players. I think our staff is coming together. Typical first-year improvement, a little bit better every week across the board. So certainly App State this week on the road. This is basically, in my opinion, have been the standard in this league relative to sustaining success. Play real football, they block and tackle well. They've got good team speed. They're good on they rush the ball. They stop the run. They play good on special teams. And really, if you look at it, they've been a mainstay in this league since they've gotten in it. So a lot of respect for their staff and their players, what they've established there. So with that being said, we'll take a few questions here.
Some of those things that you were talking about, mental errors, looks what, not even talking about the season. So what gives you maybe hope that the light will come on halfway through here for some of them?
Well, we get better. We I know obviously everybody wants to point out the final score, but at one point in the second quarter there, it was 42-14, and we had only given up one defensive score. Now we had them on the mat. We got to finish them at that point, but we gave up a 13-play, 75-yard drive for a touchdown, which ultimately gave them a little bit of momentum and some hope. I think if we get off the field in that possession and go put another score up, it's probably a different story. So, we just got to continue to try to sustain some of that early success we had against Texas State, some of the early success that we had against New Mexico State. But that is a good offensive unit, I think. I think that young quarterback they have is a good player. I think they've got some skill. But we're a group that's gaining experience. We're living and learning each day, learning how to practice, learning how to prepare. And I think as our staff grows and gets a little better pulse on our personnel, we'll continue to get better. So, it is what it is right now. We got some deficiencies, but I think our group is playing hard. I go back and watch the tape. I'm looking for things that we can control, and there's lots of that, and I think that's what our focus will be on.
You mentioned earlier in the season that you were paying attention to other teams in the Sun Belt. For all intents and purposes, this weekend's game could be home field advantage in a Sun Belt championship game. Does staff take that out?
That's a great hypothetical question, but no, I don't think we think of it that way. It's a conference game, certainly against, in my opinion, one of the better teams in our league without question. And I think that it'll be a good, we'll see where we're at, relative to the better teams in this league. But we got to focus on the things that we can get better at. Heck, that's half the battle. They're going to have some. It's just a new mission, right? It's like you train as a soldier, for several years, and then every time you got a new mission, it's a new set of variables, new location, different time. And that's where we're at. It's App State this week. We started on Sunday, and we got to focus on the things that are important this week, and a lot of that is what we do.
What is your assessment of where you're at relative to expectations were.
That's a great question. You know, I don't necessarily, you know, my big deal is trying to get the most out of what we have. You know, trying to get this group of players to overachieve, play to their potential, eliminate the things that have nothing to do with how good the other team is. You know, I mean, occasionally you're going to get beat. You're going to run into a player that's a really good player, or a guy that's faster than you, or whatever the case may be. But, you know, we just want to play with the right alignment, the right leverage. We want to communicate better. We want to have great fundamentals and techniques. We want to play with tremendous effort. That's really all I care about. You know, the expectation. I mean, I think those are overrated. You know, I think it's what can we get out of this group of players each week, and are we making improvement? Are we doing the things that we need to do to adjust our plan, to practice a little different, adjust our personnel, whatever the case may be. But we're seeing lots of players on our team get better, and that's what I care about. So each week, you know, the challenge is to get them to play their potential. You know, we played on offense, we played to our potential Saturday. You know, I think there's some areas we can fix on defense and on special teams.
Looking at the series history with App State, them winning the 4 matchups that you guys have had, do you ever look back at that? Do you see any mistakes that were made during those games, knowing you don't want to make that going into this one?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I think that certainly history is something that you can learn from, and certainly our players have experience against this team. But, you know, this group of players can't control anything that's happened in the past. You know, all we can do is focus on what we have in front of us. You know, the term "be where your feet are" is a term that we talk about, and right now, today, we've got Monday's the players' day off, a recovery day, a chance for them to really study film. They've got a routine that they need to be checking the boxes as individuals. As a staff, we're in the middle of planning. So, I mean, there's only one way to do that, and that's be completely present right here where you're at today and do your best. And what's happened in the past is the past, not only in past seasons, but even, heck, some of the negative experiences we've had as a team so far this year.
If it's all about you, how does, when Andre Nunez plays well, what does he do? And when he struggles a little bit, what's he doing?
I think most of the time it comes down to decision making. It comes down to fundamentals and techniques. It comes down to players around him playing well. You know, that's the thing that happened Saturday. We had a high level of execution from about every position group, you know, truth be known. I thought our front played the best game of the year. I thought our backs were very effective. We got numerous contributions from lots of different receivers, tight ends. We played our best game in the run game as a tight end group. You know, we had lots of guys step up to the plate. So Andre's job is to distribute the ball, make good decisions, take care of the ball, take what the defense gives them, and eventually they'll give you the game. And he did that, you know, and I think he's a very talented guy that, you know, can still play better. I mean, there's 6 straight plays in that game where he can do better, and he knows that. He'd be first to tell you that.
How much had Gardner been playing at the Jack before Manak went down, and how much maybe learning on the fly was there?
Yeah, we made that adjustment. That was a late week adjustment. And that gives you an indicator of where we're at from a depth standpoint. But there's lots of carryover in our nickel package with what those guys do. Their inventory of concepts that they have to know, whether they're inside backer or edge players. Really, that inventory of things that they have to do is pretty similar. So it took a little extra studying, and certainly we were kind of limited what we did when he was in the game, but he did a nice job of that. And we've kind of had some contingency plans that we've worked throughout training camp and throughout the year where he's done some of that stuff. So I think that helped, having some reps in the bank. But it was good to see him be able to do that, and that helped us.
Gardner was somebody that, I remember, I think the first time we talked, you didn't even expect him to be on in the program.
Right.
So how important is it to have somebody who's maybe versatile like that, considering the depth issues back there?
Right. I mean, Fry was a guy we gave a second chance to. You know, he was really kind of in a probationary scenario as he came back on the team, and, you know, kind of had didn't have many chances left, and he's done right, represented the program the right way, the university the right way, and he's a guy that's growing up, and he's still got lots of room for improvement as a football player, but certainly has played some significant snaps for us. But I think his better football hopefully is in front of him.
Coach, unlike a lot of matchups, when you play App, it really is about the line of scrimmage. At least it has been. They've been really good in that area. So how's that comparison with y'all, with them on the line of scrimmage?
Well, it's important each week. I mean, there's no question. That's why they've had a good team. Each and every year they're good up front on both sides. I mean, they've got lots of quality depth on defense. They play 9 guys in the defensive line. They rotate series and play. And this is a 3-4 concept, so that's 3 deep that they're rolling through there. So they've got quality depth. They've recruited to their scheme. They've got an identity. And there's no question on offense what they've been able to do rushing the ball. And the same thing there. They've got an identity. They run the same concepts. They get good at them. And that's the reason they have success, That to go along with pretty good quarterback play and solid special teams play, you got a chance to have a good team.
Coach, you guys are 3-3 right now, so what type of attributes does the team need to possess to figure out if they're going to be a winning team or a losing team? And is this a breaking point for you guys after this week's game?
I wouldn't necessarily put it in those terms. I think it goes back to what we said earlier. It's about making improvement. It's about, okay, are you better than you were last week? Are you maximizing your opportunities for improvement? What kind of self-discipline do you have? What type of attitude do you have? What type of teammate are you? Can you do your job at a higher level, and are you accountable? And what you put on that film, is it up to the standards? That's all we worry about. And typically the scoreboard takes care of itself. When we don't play well and we don't do all those things that I just talked about, we typically don't get a good result. I think we got to focus on the quality of the meeting, the walkthrough, the practice, the self-discipline, the film study routine, the attitude, what type of teammate, and then are you ready to do your job when the game gets there? And then get consumed with those things, and then you'll get a good result on Saturday. But we're gonna go do our best this week. We're off to a good start. I like the way we worked yesterday, and hopefully we'll continue to get better at our process of preparing for the game.
Time for 2 more questions, please.
You talked about prepared for better, Texas State, and you said you felt you had better practices last week. Is there still room to, obviously there's room to improve, but, how far off are you from being as perfect as you can as far as preparation goes?
Yeah, nowhere close. I mean, we're just slightly above average, I would say, right now. I mean, in terms of we're getting efficient, I would say that, But the deeper your team, the more quality of a practice you can have. The bottom 40% of your roster typically is relative to the type of scout team you have, the quality of group of walk-ons you have. That's one of the reasons that we've been able to overcome some of our scholarship limitations, is we do have a good group of walk-on players that bust their tail every day. And we wouldn't be where we're at without that group of players, and that's something that I think is important to note. But in general, we got lots of room for improvement, but we are getting the hang of it. And I'm not just talking about the players. I'm talking about me, first-time head coach. I'm talking about GAs, quality control people. I'm talking about operations, recruiting personnel. I'm talking about equipment staff, the training staff, the video staff. College football is a huge dynamic, a large volume of people that have to be accountable and do their job at a high level for you to have success. And I think every one of those individual people that contribute got to look in the mirror and say, hey, am I doing my best today to impact the result on Saturday? And that's where we can improve, in my opinion.
What are the injury updates? Miller, Manac, Barnes, anybody else?
Yeah, we're kind of in the same mode with McCaskill and Zion. They're going to be kind of spot play. We'll see where they're at as the week goes. They'll be modified throughout the week. Keenan's kind of the same way, still trying to get to the bottom of his knee situation. And then you've got
Miller and Manak.
Yeah, Manak is a guy who didn't do much Sunday night. You know, hopefully as we get closer to the game, we'll get a little more of a pulse on where he's at. He's questionable at this point. And Tariq Miller, I think, will be kind of in that McCaskill category. He'll be modified throughout the week. We'll see where he's at. And hey, if they don't practice on Tuesday and Wednesday around here, we're not going to play them. So, you know, if you want to play, you got to practice. And those guys that played in the game last week, they practiced throughout the week.
Does that count for quarterbacks too? Because for a lot of programs, that always sometimes seems to be one of the exceptions to the rule.
What's that?
If, you know, maybe if your quarterback doesn't practice Tuesday or Wednesday, but he can go on Thursday or something like that, you might be a little more lenient
I
in
don't.
that situation.
I mean, it just depends on how much of a difference there is between the starter and the backup. I mean, but in general, it's hard to go play well if you didn't practice. I mean, you can say what you want to say. But we don't have that problem right now, but we cross that bridge if we got to it.